guys, it's Elisa and I'm back with another video today. This one is actually not related to a breakup, but it is related to mental health and mental illness. As many of you know, I've been posting a lot of breakup advice videos. I actually deleted a good chunk of them because I recorded them on my old phone and the audio was messed up. I had like water or some kind of damage inside the microphone, so everything sounded bad, so I'm gonna have to re-record them. So if you guys have any requests for breakup, this glare is gonna drive me nuts. For breakup videos or like any kind of relationship advice, I've been working with a couple people, a good handful of people, trying to help get them through. So I would love to talk to you guys if you have any questions about that. But today we're gonna be talking about two disorders that go hand in hand, and it's called depersonalization and derealization disorder. These two disorders fall under a larger category called disassociation. Now you have a bunch of different mental illnesses. You have depression, anxiety, disassociation, PTSD, and let's just look at those four categories. Each one has more illnesses underneath. For example, under depression you have major depression, you have like minor depression, you have different kinds of depressions like major depressive disorder. Under anxiety, you have the social anxieties, and then you have different kinds of things. It's like there's literally hundreds of different kind of illnesses that fall under these big main things. It's like Ford, Buick, Lexus, and BMW, and then underneath you have like the I series, and then you have, it's like, you know what I mean? So depersonalization and desensitization, I'm just going to call them DP and DS, they fall under disassociation, which is a mental illness. So the two go hand in hand, kind of like when people say, oh, I have depression and anxiety disorder. They kind of come together, except for they come together more than depression and anxiety does. Like, a lot of people have depression and not anxiety, and a lot of people have anxiety but not depression. But most of the time people do have both of them, kind of, because they maybe do come hand in hand, especially if it's a result of a very traumatic incident, like let's say a rape or a really severe car accident that could cause both depression and anxiety. So depersonalization and desensitization, I don't really know anybody that just has one of them. Normally if you get one, you get the other. So I'm going to be talking about this illness today firsthand. I've had this mental illness for a very long time. I want to say over 10 years. People don't really know about it. It's not really a big thing, but it is just as serious as the other ones. The side effect, or not the side effects, the symptoms and the outcome of it just isn't as terrible as anxiety and depression is. Like, normally an outcome of depression or like anxiety, you kind of shut yourself away from the world. You probably have suicidal thoughts or actions. Like, it's really, really serious, but it's not that common with disassociation. Normally, the side effects or the symptoms or the effect that mental illness has on you is that it just makes you kind of like, well, it is dangerous, and it makes you kind of maybe feel vulnerable or guilty. And I'll talk about that more here in a minute. But basically, it's pretty uncommon. I don't know anybody else that has it except for myself, but I also have to say that it's often misdiagnosed. Normally, if you go into the doctor's office and you start naming these symptoms, they'll often misdiagnose you and say that you have depression, because depression and DP and DS often have the same symptoms, but they're really not the same thing at all. So depersonalization basically is when you're out of touch with your body. You lose a sense of self, and it can last anywhere from hours to days. I know the longest it's lasted for me was probably a day and a half, 2 days. And I don't know exactly how to explain it, but basically you feel like you're looking at yourself from someone else's perspective. And I don't mean physically, like you're not physically in someone else's body looking at your body like you would watch yourself on a videotape, but you feel like you're not in your body and you're kind of like experiencing things from a different point of view. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It just feels like you're watching yourself on TV, basically, and you feel like everything that you're doing, it's been done before. It's kind of like a constant state of deja vu, but it lasts forever, and it kind of feels like you're super, super hungover, or you're super, super high, and it's super dangerous when you're driving, and it's just dangerous at all, because you can't focus on anything. Like, when you have it, you know that it's going on. You're like, oh, damn, like, this is happening again. And one thing about DP and DS is that you lose sense of time. I know okay, let me just say also, DP and DS are a result of post-traumatic stress disorder, but that's not all that it is. You can have DP and DS by itself, but most of the people that do have it as a result of PTSD, either from war or from like a really bad football game if they were like a professional player. Something really bad had to happen, and then you get DP and DS as a result. But some people also just have it just because, and they don't know exactly what causes it. I know it's a chemical imbalance, like a hormonal imbalance in your body, but the actual cause has not been pinpointed yet. So, like, nothing traumatic has happened to me, like, terribly traumatic, like, almost dying, but I know I just got out of a relationship a few months ago, and about a solid month or two after the breakup, which the breakup was very traumatizing for me. That's when my DP and my DS has gotten a million times worse. I struggle with it a lot. I want to say junior year of high school, like the end of sophomore, beginning of junior, because I was having some eating problems. I wanted to be skinnier, so I wouldn't really eat. I would essentially starve myself, and I was just super, super miserable. I don't want to say depressed, because depressed is a different term, and I definitely was not depressed at that time, but I was miserable, and I was experiencing a lot of DP and DS at the time. And so after the breakup, it came back, and it was the strongest it had ever been. It just feels like you're high all the time, and it's not like a good feeling either. I know some are like, ooh, I would love to be, no, it's so not okay. Like, you literally do not know what you're doing. And going back to what I said about you lose a sense of time, this is what happens to me all the time when I have DP or DS. I mean, they come at the same time. So you're driving, you check your shoulder because you want to change lanes. So you check your shoulder, you go back. Then you're like, okay, I'm going to change lanes. You put your blinker on 2 minutes later because you don't realize that time went by. It's like there's a huge mental gap in between this and this. It's like in your head, you're like, okay, I'm going to change lanes as soon as I clear my shoulder. But that takes a second in human time. But in DP and DS time, it's at least like a 40, 50, 60 second gap because you don't really realize how much time is going by. So by the time you're changing lanes, you're hitting the cars next to you because your brain is kind of skipped over the next minute, and then by the time you decide to change lanes, cars are already scooted up next to you. So it's so, so dangerous, and it's one of those things, when I have it in class, and the teacher calls on me, it takes them a few tries to call on me. Or if someone's calling my name, like, you don't notice it until, like, maybe a few seconds later, like a minute later, like, oh, did you just, like, call me? Like, everything is delayed. And it's the scariest freaking thing. It literally, the definition, or the perfect word for it is dreamlike. You feel like you're in a dream. Everything's kind of hazy, and everything's kind of in slow motion. And it's something because, your brain has this certain chemical that keeps it, like, moving, like promptly, very, attentively to, like, all of its demands, but that chemical is deprived when you have DP and DS, so it's like all of your reactions are very slow, and it's like, whoa, did you just call me? Yeah, I called you like 5 minutes ago. Another example, something that happened to me, I called my mom when I had it, because I was in the cafeteria studying for my test, and it started hitting me, and I was like, Mom, it's hitting me again. And she was like, okay, just go somewhere where it's quiet, where you can concentrate. I was like, okay, good call. I thought it was like a 5-second phone call. I got off the phone. We were on the phone for like 14 minutes. I was like, what did we just talk about for 14 minutes? And, like, it's so, so weird. And, okay, so that was depersonalization. Desensitization, it's literally almost the same thing, except for instead of being out of touch with your body, it's being out of touch with the things around you. Or, like, objects, physical objects. Like, you don't really realize the existence of things. Like, you know that things are there, but you see them differently. It's like, how when you say a word so many times, you're like, whoa, what a weird word. Like, it doesn't even sound like a word anymore. That's what it is with desensitization. Like, I'm holding this phone, and if I was, like, not having it, I'd be like, oh, this is like the iPhone 6S Plus. It's a cool phone. It's big. It's heavy. But when I'm in the state, I'm like, whoa, big phone. Why is it so big? Like, and then you start noticing all the little details, and it's like, is this even my phone? Like, who invented this? How did technology come this far? Like, I can't believe this is mine, you're like, nothing really has like everything kind of loses its attachment to itself, and it's so hard to explain, and nobody who doesn't have it can ever fully understand what it's like until you have it. So like I said, it often is a symptom, or like, I don't know the word, like after you have PTSD, that's what you get. It's like the aftermath of it, but you can also get it just because of a chemical balance in your brain, a chemical imbalance. So basically, when you have both of them going on simultaneously, it's caused by sensory overload. That's what it is. It's when all your senses are receiving too much information. I know it happens to me a lot when I'm out in public, and let's say I'm around a bunch of people, or there's a lot of loud noises playing. Like when I'm in a car with friends, I can't have the music up that loud, especially in traffic. Like if we're on like an open road, I can have the music up kind of loud with my friends, but if it's traffic and there's music and there's people, it starts to hit me, and it starts to eat me alive to the point where I literally probably have to either pull over or like shut the radio off or make all my friends stop talking. Like it becomes really scary, especially when you're driving, because you lose sense of time and you just lose sense of, like, it's so hard to explain, and those who have it will definitely understand. But just because, this is something that we learned in psychology class, just because you have tendencies does not mean that you have the disorder. For example, you can be depressed and not have depression. You can be anxious but not have anxiety. You can be out of touch with yourself and not have depersonalization or desensitization. It's a disorder when it's ongoing for years and years and years, and I've been going through it for 10 years, and it doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen all the time. It only happens when I'm severely stressed out, when I'm severely upset or terrified, or if there's way too much going on. So treatment options. There is no like pill that you can instantly take to fix it. There are long-term solutions such as estrogen injections. I can't talk today for some reason, or other medicines that I haven't tried the other medicines, but I know for a quick fix on the spot, you can relieve your senses. So like I said, it's caused from sensory overload. So wearing a hat helps a lot, because you kind of feel like nice and like encaged kind of in the hat, because when you're experiencing this, you kind of feel like you're floating among everyone. So if you're wearing a hat, it's kind of like a thunder jacket for a dog. You feel more like set in stone. Or if you wear like glasses, like sunglasses, to kind of like darken the vision, or wear like maybe a tighter jacket, like a sweatshirt like this, something to make you feel more enclosed to yourself. And getting into a quiet place, turning off sounds, everything helps. Closing your eyes, thinking. It doesn't exactly fix it, but it does help it. I know at my work, I got it really, really bad a few weeks ago. I had to go in the bathroom for 15 or 20 minutes. I didn't know how to tell them, because like nobody really knows what the disorder is, so I was just like, I just have brain problems, and sometimes I just zone out, and they're like, yeah, that happens to me all. No, it's like, you have the tendencies, I have the disorder, and when you have the disorder, it's debilitating when it's going on. Like now I'm fine, I'm not experiencing it right now, but when I do experience it, it's very scary, because you basically feel like a drunk girl walking in the alley, in the streets at night, like in a dark alley. Like you kind of feel vulnerable or susceptible to everything, and you just kind of feel like you're a target for everyone. You feel like everyone's looking at you, and you feel like that your disorder can be seen as if it's playing on your forehead. Like, everybody, look at me, I'm out of it right now. So it's a very strange thing to go through, and fortunately, it can be lived with. Like, it's fine. It's just when it is happening, you have to make sure you take good care of yourself, or you're with people that take care of you, because it is kind of like being drunk. Like, you don't really know what's going on. Like, you can talk and you can think. It's just very, very slow and delayed, and you feel like you're in a dream, and you feel like nothing is real around you at all. So that's basically my video. I know I kind of like sped through it really quickly, but I have to stay under 15 minutes because YouTube is weird. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you think that you might have this, go talk to your doctor. If they try telling you have depression and you know that you don't have depression, just tell them, look, I know this illness is often misdiagnosed, but I know I don't have depression. I want you to do further research, because I believe I have DP and DS. So if you do have it, it's okay. I mean, like, I'm fine. It's just when it's happening, I'm not fine. Like, I'm scared and I'm terrified, and it's been happening a lot because, the stupid breakup. So if you go through something traumatizing or very upsetting and you do have these, just make sure you take good care of yourself while it's going on. Alright, and don't forget, your mental health is more important than what anybody else says. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Let me know if you have any requests. I'll be here. Alright, peace out.